Hello and welcome to this exploring session of the N-Town play. Well, plays. This is play 2, The Fall of Adam and Eve, the second of 10 so far in the can. We recorded the first 10 plays as exploring sessions in 2019, and I hope to keep the pressure up in 2020, so that I have the first half out on the podcast by the end of the year, and the second half, hopefully, recorded by the end of the year. But if you want to help that happen, become a patron today at www.patreon.com/Beyond Shakespeare. Your support is vital. Or buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/Beyond Shakespeare. If you've listened to our Chester explorations, then obviously there's another version of the play you can compare this with. We've done an exploration and a full cast audio version of the Chester Fall of Adam and Eve. And there will be 2 more versions of the same story from Norwich coming up in a few weeks' time. And we'll be looking at this play a couple more times in slightly different ways in a few weeks' time. So this isn't the end yet. Oh yeah, we're really getting into Adam and Eve. We like some apple-biting action. There are lots of different digital and physical editions out there, but you can go to the show notes to quickly find an online version of the text to follow as you listen at your leisure. Anyway, here is the first stab at getting into the text. Workshopped with our Beyond Shakespeare Irregulars sometime in 2019, there are stumbles and errors, but that is par for the course. More fulsome audio versions of all these exploring session plays will one day be released. Submit suggestions, clarifications, and passive-aggressive abuse, either on our Patreon page by joining us, or on Twitter at Beyond Shakes. The Irregulars were Liz Cole, Richard Fawcett, Mark Scanlon, and Alan Scott, and I'm, as per usual, your host, Robert Crighton. And this is play 2 of the N-Town sequence, The Fall of Adam and Eve. Enjoy. Creation of the world. Shall we move on? Shall we stick with the same god, the same serpent/demon figure for Richard? If you could be Adam, if you could be Eve, that sort of fits well. I'll be a random angel, because I can. Obviously, the serpent, I think I have actually... No, I haven't regularised it, so it could technically be a separate character, the serpent and the demon. It could be the serpent works for the demon, or it's just he's revealed as Satan later on, which I think is the much more plausible kind of thing. Okay, God, you've got to create the world, yeah? So some of it's not biblically in order, but never mind, that's fine.
Now heaven is made for angels' sake, the first day and the first night. The second day water I make, the waking also full fair and bright. The third day I part water from earth, the tree and every growing thing, both herb and flower of suet smelling. The third day is made by my working. Now make I the day that shall be the fourth. Sun.
Yeah, so you've got welcome. I'm just
Yes.
thinking walking.
Yes, Welkin works in that.
Yeah. I'll double check that. But anyway, so you're 4 days in. You've just finished your first stanza. Good work there, God.
Yeah, I've got to the end of the third day.
Yeah, you're just starting the fourth. Start
Yes.
the fourth.
Sun and moon and stars also, the fourth day I make in same. The fifth day, worm and fish that swim and go, birds and beasts, both wild and tame. The sixth day, my work I do, and make the man, Adam be name. In earthly paradise, without and woe, I grant thy bidding, lass, thou do blame. Flesh of thy flesh, and bone of thy bone. Adam, here is thy wife, and make both fish and fowls that swimmen and gone, to every each of them a name thou take. Both tree and fruit and beast are con, red and white, both blue and blake. Thou gave them him name, be thyself alone. Herbs and grace, both beasts and brake. This wife thou give name also. Look that ye not cease your fruit to increase, that there may be press me worship for to do.
We'll just pause there because there's lots of. That's a
There's
much
an
more
awful-
fiddly. It's a fiddlier sod, isn't it?
Fiddly old bugger, and
I grant thee bidding.
Well,
Lass.
I think that's
Less
biding. So he's
biding,
he's
yeah.
allowing them to bide in paradise. Last do
Unless thou do blame.
Unless you piss on the parade or something.
Yeah, so the lass is a contraction of unless, presumably,
Yeah.
isn't it? Thou do blame. Unless thou do blame. Yeah, that's a sort of sight read, though, isn't it?
well, quite. That's why I was sort of
Yeah, no.
Unless your behaviour be blameworthy.
yes.
So 6 days, it didn't take long before he's straight into make the man. So there's stage business basically going on here as Adam is created. No stage direction notation in the text as it stands. I should point out that I'm not sure that it's even listed as technically a separate play. I must double check that in the manuscript. It may just follow on. And it's just been artificially called Play 2 because it follows on pretty naturally, doesn't it? So in terms of thinking of it, this is all one thing, I think. Anyway, introduce Adam to paradise, please, sir. Unless there's any additional thoughts about.
No, I mean, there are a number.
There's a number of little
the
things.
stanza before that, there are a few words that probably need a gloss.
Yeah.
Now come forth, Adam, to paradise. There shalt thou have all manner thing, both flesh and fish and fruit of price. All shall be buxom at thy bidding.
Adam can improvise some. Ooh.
Here is pepper, pan, and sweet licorice. Take 'em all at thy liking, both apple and pear and gentle rice. But toucheth now this tree that is of cunning. But toucheth not this tree that is of cunning.
That's probably nout, isn't it, rather than not?
Yeah.
So touch nout this tree that is of cunning. And is the absence of an additional e in tree an indication of that it's a tree?
Yeah, no, I think it is. It's got to be tree because
Oh, yeah,
that's
it is,
the kill story, isn't it?
Yeah, in terms of the way we're telling it.
Here is pepper, pan. Can you just?
I was about to do. I was just digging out a list of things to look up actually out of that one.
It's something they would have used, in cooking
Well,
liberally and was.
Except that at the time,
Available.
pepper was one of the most expensive commodities.
Well, hence it's in paradise.
I'm thinking Milton.
Peony, actually.
Peony.
That's what it's got here. I'm not saying it's right. Sometimes these things do come up with some really odd things. I'm just checking whether licorice is.
It would be worth checking whether there's anything in the plant which is usable.
Medicinal.
Medicinal
herb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Never.
And it is licorice, as in licorice. Yes, the licorice plant. So apple and pear and gentle rice. I'll just check that is rice. That is rice. Yes. So pepper, peony, and sweet licorice.
There's a definite poetry about it.
Yeah,
Oh yes, it's well, the thing is
best-
you're showing
more of a poem than a cookery book.
Well, I think it's the thing you're showing off your all the good points of the property. So it's almost an estate agent, and then you turn. This tree is of cunning. I like that, the idea, the tree of knowledge, cunning, and that as a word that's shifted its meaning slightly over time. That's quite a thing. I think it's unique actually. It's being called that in any of the cycles.
Yeah.
Except possibly this one.
Well, the modern German would be kennen. I think Chaucer talks about kenning.
Yeah.
Which basically is it is
Thinking.
knowing.
Yeah.
As in
knowing
G. Ken John Peel.
Well,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So Lowland.
So
Scots
maybe
as well as,
cunning is wrong. That should maybe kenning is a better meaning for the modern connection.
Well, you used to describe people as canny, didn't you? Which
Yes.
would be
They all seem to come from the same sort of roots. don't they?
it's
What's the etymology? He wonders. For a future time. He says to the notation system, "Future Robert, deal with that." Okay, let's carry on.
Oh, right. All things saith this for thee is wrought, everything modern French sauf, S-A-U-F, except.
Sorry, where are we?
All things
fifth line
saith
from the
this.
Yeah.
All things save
Save
this.
all.
Save would be the modern English,
Yeah.
yes, but I think you're right about the French connection, shall we say?
Yes, it is safe, isn't it? Because you can have
Yeah,
everything
I'd-
you like except
I'll
the
defer to you
common
because
tree.
my French
Yeah.
is appalling.
Go from touch not nuts
Well,
to
if
string.
I go from here is pepper, peony, and sweet licorice, take 'em all at thy liking, both apple and pear and gentle rice. But tossest not this tree that is of cunning. All things save this for thee is wrought. Here is all thing that shalt thee should please, already made unto thine ease. It not this fruit may nor me displease, for that thou darest, thou scapest nought. Now I have made all thing of nought, heaven and earth, fowl and beast. To all thing that mine hand hath wrought, I grant mine blessing that ever shall last. My way to heaven is ready south, a working I will the 7th day rest, and all my creatures that be about, of my blessing ye have both east and west. A working the 7th day ye sees, and all those that sees of labouring here, the 7th day without and wear, and worship me in good manner, they shall in heaven have endless peace.
I do love heaven or Hefney as a spelling. I mean, F as instead of V seems to be a constant here actually in
Well,
places,
that
isn't
would be
it?
a
Yeah.
bit Suffolk, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Heaven?
Yeah, that's a bit Suffolk.
That is, but
Yeah, Hefney. How Suffolk can you make out of Eve? Go on, give it a go.
Seventh day.
Seven. Yeah.
Yeah. Adam, go forth and be prince in place, for to heaven I speed my way. This white well locust do chase, and ghostly govern thee as I say.
Holy Father, blessed thou be, for I may walk in wealth anew. I find dates great plenty, and many field fruits full every bough. All this wealth is given to me, and to my wife that on me low. I have no need to touch yon tree. Agents, my lords, while to work now, I am a good gardener. Every fruit of rich name, I may garden with glee and game. To break that bond I were to blame, that my lord had me kept here.
There's a couple of interesting things in there. You went for given, but I wonder whether the connection with the word govern works. All this wheel is I know it does work as given. But I just wonder whether it's just the governing. You've been governance. I know that
the
that
given
thing.
makes sense.
The
in
given makes
sentence,
sense, but it's just that interesting connection, even if it's not actually how you perform it. It's just an interesting thought.
Govern is the idea of overseeing, and he is the
Gardener,
gardener of
yeah.
the Garden of Eden.
I think in practical terms it's given, but it's an interesting thought in terms of as an actor to look at that and think that that's part of it.
The end of the following line, L-O-W-H,
That's
that's
on
on me.
Lao. I think the H is basically redundant because it's got a rhyme with bow and now, hasn't it?
Well, yes, I mean, see why it's there for the rhyme scheme, it's just what the meaning is.
Let's have a little look.
Unless that's it's
It could just be
his
simply
command.
low,
you're lower than.
and it's just pronounced Lao. Oh God, I love it when you find the word and it says no. Look at it, spelt slightly
Something else,
different
yeah.
somewhere else. Just put it in twice, you bastards. Really, really hate that. As well as endnotes.
Well, we're all on a god now, so.
LAWH. There we are. Laugh
What?
or smile.
Ah,
On me, smile.
yes,
Yeah.
smile.
So there's
Don't
that. It
sweat,
doesn't refer
it's-
to the wife. That refers back to the wealth.
Yeah. And to my wife that on me smiles.
so you send W-Y-F as wealth rather than wife.
No, all this wealth is given to me and my wife. All this wealth that smiles on us.
Yeah.
But the wife is smiling on me.
Yeah, but
as
it's
the
I think
actor.
it's as a,
Well,
it's,
that
it's
didn't
as
last
a
long, did it?
totality. I think it's both the wealth and to my wife. So the wealth smiles on the wife as well as you. I think is what
That's what he's saying.
is
You'd
what
have
he's
thought,
saying.
in a way, it would be love, you know, in the fact that they're given to all this, and his wife and I do love it, you know. Wouldn't, but it doesn't.
I don't
you
think
say, the literal
Adam
meaning
has
of
that
it.
emotional sophistication. He doesn't usually.
There's an awful lot of two-dimensionality in
Yes.
these, isn't there?
And it is the beginning of the patriarchy.
Oh, it is. Oh, and boy, is it going to be. Give it a moment, and it gets worse. To break that bond, I were to blame that my lord bade me keep in here. I like that. I have no need to touch on tree.
Yeah.
Bless. Okay, Eve. I think. Do you follow on that thought, and then there's a slight break before you move somewhere else? I think that may be it.
Well, we may be both blithe and glad our Lord's commandment to fulfil. With
Now, is it feely or fell? With feely fruits we be we
Well,
fair fad.
Fell would be the wrong meaning in common set.
Yeah, I think it's probably go for feely, I think, or felle or something like that. I will have a quick look to just double check.
please do.
The problem with some of these words is they will have exactly opposite meanings depending on context.
We're beginning to discover that, aren't we?
Yeah, but generally excellent, much, many, much, or excellent. Many or excellent, both which seems to work.
Oh, German feel.
And
Yeah.
fad?
German feel meaning.
Fad?
Many.
Feel, many. Yeah.
Sorry,
Feel.
you're the linguist.
Well,
I'm
to
not.
say is that what would be what would we use basically? Anyway, play around with it, Liz. We've many or wonderful fruits.
Right. With fairly fruits be we fair fad. Wounder, dowsett. And ne'er on ill.
Never on ill. It's good. These are. So wonder. Go with wonder.
Oh, yes, wonder,
Wonder.
dowsett. And ne'er on ill.
Yeah. So there's all these marvellous fruits. Wonder, dowsett. I'll just check dowsett. That gives us some sense of what the hell that.
Sweet, possibly.
I think it would. Yeah. Well.
You got sweet earlier on when you got what looks like suet when you did your earlier bit. It was sweet, wasn't it?
Sweet, yes, absolutely. Wonderful, sweet, and never on ill. So they're never bad. They're really, these fruits are always lovely.
Right.
Sorry, go back to the
Go
top.
back to
I'm afraid. So give it some welly.
Give it a run up.
We may be both blithe and glad our Lord's commandment to fulfil. With fairly fruits we be fair fad. Wonder, dowsett, and ne'er on ill. Every tree with fruit is spread. Of them to take us pleasure by us till our wits were rackle, and overdone bad. Sounds like they've overeaten till they're sort of sick to the back teeth.
Our wit were
Rackle,
and
racked.
overdone bad.
Oh,
It's a bad thing for our wits to go against our Lord's will in any wise. I think that's where it's.
So it says for us to take us pleasure till us till our wits
Yeah, but that's a
were
full stop.
rackle.
That's a full stop after till.
Till, yeah, our wits were rackle.
so overdone is
Overdone
fine,
bad.
but rackle.
Were raked, basically. So our wits were raked and overdone bad if we forfeit against
Yeah.
our Lord's will in any wise.
Our wit were rackle and overdone bad to forfeit against our Lord will in any way wise. In this garden I will go see all the flowers of fair beauty and tasten the fruits of great plenty that be in paradise.
Because she comes across as really nice there. I would never go against our Lord. I'm just going into the garden.
But I'm just going to enjoy what's there.
Yeah, and the accent really works. It fits her very, very well. Go serpent.
Hail, fair wife and comely dame, this fruit to eat I thee counsel. Take this apple and eat this same, this fruit is best, as I thee tell.
Well, that apple to eat I were to blame, from joy our Lord would have us expel. We should die and be put out with shame, in joy of paradise never more to dwell. God himself said. This said, what day of that fruit we ate? With these words, God did us threat.
Yeah.
God did us threat that we should die our lives to let. Therefore, I am afraid.
Of this apple, if ye will bite, even as God is, so shall ye be, wise of cunning as I you plight, like unto God in all degree. Sun and moon and stars bright, fish and fowl, both sound and both sun and sea, at your bidding both day and night. All things shall be in your paucity. Ye shall be God's peer. Take this apple in thine hand, and to bite thereof thou fond. Take another to thine husband, thereof have thou no dweer.
So wise as God as in his great main, and for law in cunning fain would I be.
Eat this apple, and in certain that I am true son shalt thou see.
Now, is that where the apple biting happens? Is it? Yes, it must be.
I think so.
Yes,
Because she's going to go and tell him all about it.
Yes,
so
so
she
that
must
must be bite. Just write that one in.
Well, it seems in the next
Well,
one.
then-
It seems to
She
suggest
might not.
that
She
the
might
biting
take
is still...
Oh,
Nicole.
it's a
They
mutual
might do
thing.
it together. Yeah. Have a
Ah,
look
suicide
and see.
pact. Excellent.
Of this apple I shall essay, she says.
Yeah. Ah, right.
To make him to eat. She'll eat it first.
Yeah.
This she returns to Adam, and talks to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
think so.
So maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, so this is the first bit down to that stage direction is effectively a promenade speech, isn't it?
Well, again, we
should be.
It's always difficult to tell, but it sort of would work that way. As there's some kind of journeying going on, isn't there? I'm just checking fellow or equal. Equal. Fellow.
Whereabouts are we on?
Eve's
Cunning
line and
in cunning.
fellow in cunning. Fain would I be.
She wants to be as clever.
I think
as
fellow
God.
works perfectly
Yeah.
well, but it's just slightly different. Equal, friend, associate, fellow. Yes, I think fellow's fine. Anyway, go to
Right.
don't know
To
what
mine husband, with hateful fain, this apple I bear, as thou biddest me. This fruit to eat I shall assain, and wise as God is, and if we may be, and God's peer as myth of might, to mine husband I walk my way, and of this apple I shall say, to make him to eat, if that I may, to this fruit to bite.
Is there a sense of it's interesting because we have the same sort of structure as the serpent's bit earlier, and we have it twice with you. It's like I'm going to go with the apple. I will have a bit. I will, but I'll go to him. And is it indecision or excitement? What are those?
Well, she has been told not to do it, so
Yeah.
she's very hesitant about. Even if this other guy says, I'm
If
as
we
great
may
as
be,
you.
if that I may.
And no, doctrinally she needs to be seen. Well, the serpent is obviously the tempter, but she needs to be seen as the temptress.
She's the guilty one.
Yes.
She's always going to be guilty.
And it's this thing. It's you because you lead the halfway point in those lines. If we may be, if that I may, and it follows on from the serpent's. If you will bite. It's the power of if. Sort of being presented. Anyway, line of Latin. Have we got to that?
No, that's the stage direction.
Yes, I know it's stage direction.
This to him, she comes to Adam.
Yeah. So travelling, as
Yeah.
we said. So you've
And
travelled
talks to him.
and talked to him.
And she's
Thusly, probably, isn't it? Yes.
She's now addressing him.
Yes.
Yes.
So chat to Adam. Adam, I don't know what you were doing, but, be attentive.
Not eating.
I'm sure this is important.
Doing some gardening.
Yes, you're hoeing away, boy.
Yes,
you're
I was.
hoeing away.
You'd have been spraying.
Getting
Spraying the apples.
getting on with his work rather than lollygagging.
Yeah, you have been map spreading, Joe.
Bit of weed.
Get off the tractor.
My seemly spouse and good husband, listen to me, Sarah, I you pray, and take this fair apple in all your hand. Thereof of a morsel bite, and I say, to eat this apple. Look, ye may find God's for law to be always, all his wisdom to understand, and God's peer to be for eye, all things for you for to make, both fish and fowl, sea and sound, bird and beast, water and land. This apple, that's like, do you take, isn't it? That's like this apple. This apple you take out of mine hand, a bite thereof you take.
I dare not touch thin hand for dread of our Lord God omnipotent. If I should work after the rede of God our Maker, I should be shent. If that we do this sinful deed, we shall be dead by God's judgment. Out of thin hand with hasty speed, cast out that apple anon present, for fear of God's threat.
Of this apple, if thou wilt bite, God's equal, God's peer thou shalt pite. So wise of cunning, I thee plight this fruit, if you will eat.
And again, if
Bloody bite it, man.
Get it down. Apple a day. If we it eat, ourself we kill. As God us told, we should be dead. To eat that fruit and my life to spill, I dare not do after thee rede.
A fair angel thus said to me, tell, to eat this apple, take never no dread. Oh, that is so Suffolk. Take never no dread.
Double negative.
So cunning as God in heaven hill, thou should be within a stead.
thou shalt soon be within a stead. So
Thou
shalt be
shalt
near.
soon within a stead. Therefore this fruit you eat, do eat.
Of God's wisdom for to leer, and in cunning to be his peer. Of thine hand I take it here, and shall some taste this meat.
So when does she eat?
That's a moot point.
Maybe she did it earlier, because the Latin there says just Adam speaks.
Because Adam
here.
suddenly has this moment of indecision, but it doesn't seem that she's eaten it yet.
An interesting Jew that she refers to the serpent as a fair angel,
Yes,
which of course Lucifer was.
Yes.
But presumably the serpent, presumably they get an anaconda to play this.
Well, it depends on your definition.
You would.
Well, the
would.
costuming I can't remember if it's Chester or not, but there's one of them where the serpent starts off as a beautiful bird and gets stripped back into being a serpent-like figure, and that's what God then immediately does to him.
Hang on, what? No, bird, serpent? South American, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the
Quetzalcoatl.
Because
Yeah. So there's an interesting question as to precisely what the serpent's supposed to look like at the beginning.
Yeah.
Is it a beautiful, fallen angel figure that then gets pushed onto his belly? Because that's, I think, how Chester describes it. He then is forced down onto his belly and becomes serpent-like.
Well, it's interesting because Eve sees it as a beautiful angel. So she doesn't see it as a serpent.
Because you see, if you saw a hissing serpent, it'd run a mile. But if it's a lovely, beautiful bird, well, I'd probably still run a mile. But, it's a bloody talking bird. But yeah.
Oh my God, it's the fucking Muppets.
Yes, a big bird turns up. Here, have the apple. Okay, anyway, I think we're getting off track a tiny bit, but good points, which I think are very, very interesting.
But it makes it, whichever way, this is a more sophisticated piece of writing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes, this is 2 or 3 levels above the previous piece we did, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a slightly different pattern of... No, it's about the same pattern of verse. So...
But then again, it is a more inherently dramatic situation.
Yeah, I mean, and there's more of a story to play
I mean,
with.
the question I'm asking on a dramaturgical level is this a Eve being a drug pusher, or is this a suicide pact? You know, what is the relationship to what you're doing with the apple, which we haven't found an answer to, but we don't have to today. We'll come back to this.
I'd go more with the pusher aspect.
Yeah, but I say we can, when we get this on its feet in a future session, we can make some more interesting decisions. We're not rushing through and abandoning these things. This is just the beginning of a process. Shall we move on? However, Adam has his moment of crisis, and I think you need to be probably ridiculously over the top. Probably, I don't know.
As in woe, woe and thrice woe.
Exactly.
They've all got it in for
We haven't had a well away yet, but I'm sure one will turn up.
Of God's wisdom for to Lear, and in cunning to be his peer. Of thine hand I take it here, and shall some taste this mead. Alas, alas, for this false deed, my fleshy friend, my foe I find. Shameful sin doth us unheed. I see us naked before and behind. Our Lord's word would we not dread. Therefore we be now caitives unkind. Our poor privates, is that privates?
Privities is probably the... But yes,
I know they're going to hide themselves.
It is,
now.
no, it is
Yeah.
private,
Yeah.
depending on how you want to pronounce it. But yes, it's basically our poor privates.
The meat and two veg are on display.
Whoa, what the hell? What's this? I've never noticed these before.
And the latest title for this one is The Muppets Do Porn.
Okay, pull it back, people. Okay, our poor privates.
Our poor privates for to hide. Some fig leaves fain would I find, for to hide our shame. Woman, lay this leaf on thy private, and with this leaf I shall hide me. Great shame it is, us naked to see, our Lord God thus to grame.
Alas, that ever that speech was spoken that false angel said unto me. Alas, our Maker's bidding is broken, and I have touched his own...
Dear tree.
Oh, yeah, I have touched his own dear tree. Our fleshly eyne been all loken, naked for sin. Ourself we see, that sorry apple... Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
that
that's
sorry
sorry.
apple that we have soken to death hath brought my spouse and me. Right grievous is our shame. Our sin.
Now that's Suffolk, isn't it?
Grievous.
Right, grievous.
Right grievous is our sin. Of mickle shame.
Mickle, yeah.
I do know. Alas, that ever this apple was grow to dreadful death. Now be we throw in pain us ever to pine.
Oh, it's gone well. I think you must both eat the apple at relatively close quarters at that stage direction. You must do it at the same time, because you don't have any of this reaction before then, do you? No. So it's a suicide pact. It's
It's an advert for the Apple marketing board.
yeah. And the thing, it's this thing. Oh, we notice we're naked, so it's shame. This shame of our God. It's self-hatred on a stick, isn't it?
Yeah.
And privity. I think it must be privity. Privets. Oh, poor privets.
Must be the cold.
That might work as well, actually. Anyway, we'll go. God wonders what's going on, and we're nearly at the end.
Adam, that with mine hands I made, where art thou now? What hast thou wrought?
Ah, Lord, for sin our flowers do fade. I hear thee voice, but I see thee naught.
Adam, why hast thou sinned so soon, thus hastily to break my bone? And I made thee master under none, truly of every tree. O tree, I kept for my own, life and death therein I know. This sin from life now thee has thrown, from death I must not flee.
Lord, I have wrought against thy will, I spared Nat myself to spill. The woman that thou took me till,
Oh, thanks.
she brought me thereto. It was her counsel and her rede. She bade me do the same deed. I walk as worm without and weed, away is shroud and show.
I'm just going to pause us there. Now, this is very traditional. This turns up in Chester as well. It's even worse in Chester, because what Chester happens is the moment Eve is made, Adam goes, oh, you are so beautiful, so wonderful. I will call you Virago, because you are such a wonderful person. And then later on, the moment this moment happened, he goes, I knew she'd be trouble.
Yeah.
The moment I saw her, I knew she was going to be awful. He's just such a shit. And it's nice to see you're continuing the tradition, because the audience reaction from this is you're going, and everyone, and that's, I think, a perfectly reasonable audience reaction of just going,
Okay, and I notice, in fact, she does refer later on to a worm with an angel's face.
So,
Yeah, which is the point at which he's realised it's a serpent.
yeah,
There's got to be several candidates in the cabinet for that.
I don't think you can keep it narrowed down to just the cabinet. Anyway, let's continue the rise of the patriarchy as Deus continues.
Woman, that art this man's wife, why hast thou stirred your brother's strife? Now ye be from your fair life, and are deemed for to die. Unwise woman, say me why that thou hast done this foul folly, and I made thee a great lady in paradise for to play.
Lord, when thou wentest from this place, a worm with an angel's face, it hight us to be full of grace. The fruit that we eat, I did his bidding. Alas, alas, now we be bounden in deathless. I suppose that was Satanas. To pain he gan us Pete.
Thou worm, and with thy wiles weak, thy false fables thee be full thick. Why hast thou put to this prick in Adam and his wife? Thou thee both in my bidding hath broken, out of who yet art ye not broken? In hell log thou shalt be loken, and never no more lash life.
I shall thee say wherefore and why I did him all this villainy. For I am full of great envy, of right and wicked hate, that man should live above the sky, whereas sometime dwelled I. And now I am cast to hell's sty, straight out at heaven gate.
I think that's probably go for wrath and wicked hate rather than right and wicked hate.
Yeah.
There's another one. It's interesting. Death's prick, a death sting earlier.
Yes.
So it's because there is that thing with death being wandering around, actually with a cudgel and just basically whacking.
Death, where is thy sting-a-ling-a-ling?
Exactly. Anyway, God, you're often one.
Again, yes. Adam, for thou that happily boot, against my bidding well I woot, go tell this meat with swink and swoot unto this life's end. Go naked, hungry, and barefoot, at both herbs, grease, and root. Thy bale hath none other boot, as rich in world thou wend. Woman, thou sowest this sinning, and bade him break mine bidding. Therefore thou shalt be underling to many's burning bend. What he bideth thee, do that thing, and bear thy children with great groaning, in danger and in death dreading, unto this life's end. Thou wicked worm, full of pride, foul envy since there be thy side, upon this gut thou shalt glide, as worm wrecked in kend, till a maiden in middle earth be born. Defend, I warn thee beforn, through her thy head shall be to torn, on womb away thus wend.
Oh, not bloody elves as well.
Sadly that's where Tolkien got it from. But obviously Middle Earth is just Earth, and the heavens
Well,
is the
Middle-earth,
top bit,
yeah,
and the hell
yeah.
is the bottom. But it does make it a bit of a bugger to perform in modern day, because everyone's going, no, not hobbits.
At thy bidding, foul, I fall. I creep home to my stinking stall. Hell pit and heaven hall should do thy bidding bone. I fall down here a foul freak. For this fall I gin to quake. With a fart my breach I break. My sorrow cometh full soon.
I think it's soon and boon,
Soon,
isn't it?
soon.
Bidding
Yes.
boon, yeah. So I noted
earlier.
there was a one earlier. Bone
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
and it's just he can't resist the fart.
Well,
Exit
quite.
fart.
Fart
Second
gags.
exit with a fart.
Yeah, fart gags.
Was it the penultimate line you had last time?
Yes.
Was the fart line? I think
Yes.
it was the penultimate line.
Yes.
But it,
Yeah.
but
So it's like you exit with a fart every time.
Yeah. But I mean, it's. I mean, in terms of strategy, Satan actually has got nothing to lose.
No. He's
Nothing
already
to
in
lose.
hell. Yeah.
And you get a sense of this in Milton as well. I mean, this is about, Milton is on the devil's side and blah, 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 but he's got nothing to lose. And God, he does get the best, not just the best line, he gets the best bloody pages.
Well, quite.
He
Well,
gets the best pages, but he has got something to lose if he's now got to go along on the ground, because at first he was a pretty angel.
Well, it's confused because it talks about him being a worm already.
Yeah.
And then again, but then you have this sort of problem with a lot of medieval things where things that haven't happened yet are referenced as already having happened. Time is an illusion.
Well, and given that we're talking about the beginning of the Old Testament, the first mention of the Trinity isn't until
well, it's obviously
well into the New Testament.
God's got his plan. And the point is, the only reason they do the Old Testament, any Old Testament material, is to set up the New Testament material. They're not actually that interested in the Old Testament. There's only so much. They only do about 6 plays, and then they whack onto the
but
new.
it's also got some of the better stories, the more dramatic stories to play with.
There's nothing like child murder and genocide to get the crowd going. Yes, we're coming round to Abraham and Isaac again, people.
Oh, lovely.
And the total absence of gentility, of kindness, of forgiveness.
No, it's all
No,
absolutely
don't want any of that. That's not good theatre.
brutal stuff.
It's not good church law.
No. Anyway,
But no, I think there is always a question about Satan. Who survives? He still has to be warned against. Otherwise, the church has got nothing to do on the other 6 days of the week. I mean, yes, okay, he does suffer a further indignity. But the question ultimately about Satan is surely, is his pride broken? And the evidence actually is, no, it's not.
No, it's not. He's never broken, is he?
No.
Well, if it was broken, then there wouldn't be any lectures, as you say, in church to give to the townsfolk.
There's got to be for that.
Got to keep them in line.
You've got to set up, as with any cause, you've got to set up an enemy, and you've got to make him credible, whether or not he is existent or not. I mean, V-Day, becoming a vassal regime.
I mean,
Also, the doom paintings on all the churches are all the hell's mouth are all a great big cat or a serpent.
I mean, it's
and the thing is, when we talk about you exiting with a fart, is we can assume that there's actually a sulphur set off. That they burn some sulphur at that moment, so they can literally smell.
do a bit of pyro.
Something going on. So it's almost that could actually be a cue for the person setting off the special effect. Because where it's placed just before your exit line, twice, it's got to be a special effect. Right, God.
Addressing Satan.
Yeah, follow that.
For your sin that ye have do, out of this bliss soon shall ye go, in earthly labour to leaven in woe, and so we shall attest. For your sin and misdoing, an angel with a sword bringing, out of this joy he shall you ding, your wealth away is past.
And the angel with a flaming sword forces Adam and Eve out of paradise. I think that's the basic
Yes,
translation.
that's the stage
Exit
direction.
Exit God, yes.
and flaming sword.
Exeunt omnes.
Beats Adam and Eve out of paradise.
Yes. Flaming sword, always a fun effect. That I can't see that going wrong in any way, shape, or form. Ye wretches unkenned and right unwise, out of this joy hie-o in haste, with flaming sword from paradise, to pain I beat yow, of care to taste. Your mirth is turned to careful sighs, your wealth with sin away is wast. For your false deed of sinful guise, this bliss I spear from you right fast. Herein come ye no more, till a child of a maid be born, and upon the rood rent and torn, to save all that ye have forlorn, your wealth for to restore.
The rhythm kind of fits a bit of Suffolk, doesn't it?
I'm not pretending for a second that was particularly Suffolk. I think that was
No, it was close-ish.
generic mumble. But it gives the idea, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, you've got some lamenting to do to close the play in a cheerful fashion.
The seraphim is obviously the equivalent here of Milton's Archangel Raphael. My money's with the Archangel.
It's whether you don't have a mention of him then going off to guard the tree of life, which is these.
And he, surprise, is starting to look like a real smart ass. Ooh, might have ever played my hand.
Yeah. Maybe put the flaming
there.
sword angels there in the first place, rather than just saying, just don't go over there. I put a sign saying wet floor.
That was not an instruction.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, shall we do the alasses? Rattle through these, I think, with some pace, because it's quite repetitious, I suspect.
Alas, and lass, and well away, that ever touched I the tree. I wend as wreck in Welsome way, in black bushes, in black bushes my bar should be. In paradise is plenty of play, fair fruits, right great plenty. The gates be shut with God's key. My husband is lost 'cause of me. Left spouse, now thee fond, now stumble we on stalk and stone. My white away is throw me gone, right onto my neck bone with hardness of thin hond.
Wife, thy wit is not worth a rosh. Leave, woman, turn thee thought. I will not thee fleshly of my flesh, for of my flesh thee flesh was wrought. Our hap was hard, our wit was nesh. To paradise when we were brought, my weeping shall be long fresh, short liking shall be long bought. No more tell thee, thou that tale, for if I should slee my riff, I slow myself.
Slay? Would that be slay?
Yes.
Yeah.
What should?
Should slay my wife.
Slay. For I should slay my wife. I slay myself without a niff. In hell log to lead my liff, with woo in weeping dale. But let us walk forth unto the land, with ruth great labour our ford to find, with delving and digging with 9 bon hond, our bliss to bale and care to pind, and wife to spend now must thou find, our naked bodies in cloth to wind, till some comfort of God's sond, with grace relieve our careful mind. Now come, go we hens, wife.
Alas, that ever we wrought this sin, our bodily sustains for to win.
So it must be sustenance, mustn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yes, our bodily sustenance for to win. Ye must delve, and I shall spin in care to leaden our life. Our life, I
Yeah.
should think.
It's interesting. Wife, thy wit is not worth a rush. So rush is it's not worth a weed, basically.
Or in Satan's term, a tuppenny far.
Yeah. So yeah, I do love Eve's lamenting. It's so much more characterful than Adam's, isn't it? I just really like her.
He's a cipher, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
Absolute cipher.
yeah. It's that thing. If you've given they've given Eve character because there's more to go on, whereas Adam. Yeah. No. You've got the commonplaces.
She's a liberal metropolitan elite.
Yes.
Snowflake.
Yeah, I mean, we've got our first well away. Always good, yeah. Always good to have a well away. I always like one of those. Always nice to get them in. So I'm going to count them now. How many well aways are we getting in? Because it's just that thing of how is that supposed to be performed? It's just this German whoa away kind of thing. Woe is me.
It's very slow, yeah.
Yeah, so it's alas, alas, and well away. It's such a repetitive thing. We've got the two commonplaces, of course. We've got Adam as the gardener and you as
Spinner.
Yeah, as the spinner. You know, there's a lot of life to this, I have to say, for something that's 12 pages long. You know, and it packs in a lot. And it expands when it needs to expand. You know, you've got the impression that they kind of needed to have Lucifer introduced, but that's all that first play is for. Is just to introduce Satan, get him in there, and then get him out again.
And they're also trying to justify whacking your wife, aren't they?
Oh yes.
Right onto my wife bond with hardness of thin hand.
Yeah, of thine hand. Yeah. Yes.